And she's already started recording. You're telling a good story, speak up.
No, just be bundled to that.
Yeah.
So we go.
They just read the
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for being here. I apologize for being a little bit late. I did get my steps in. And, we'll be able to work it out. Jim Solons, Chair of the Ag Advisory Committee, meetings, ag position. Introductions.
Mike Washington, Associate Director of RMA.
Kyle Barrett, licensed civil engineer with Fort Creeks.
Pete Larry, County Environmental Health.
Vincent Salinas, Large Cities.
Denise England, Grants and Resources Manager, RMA.
Ross Miller, Deputy County Council.
Aaron Bach, Assistant Director, RMA.
Emily Gage, Planner for RMA.
Jose Saenz, Planner with Special Projects RMA. Russell Cascio, Planner RMA. Kevin Ross, Foreman.
Larry McCarty, Board Supervisor.
Derek Williams, LA Support.
Logan Robinson, Superior Women's Choice.
Sugar Assistant Commissioner, Tulare County.
Tricia Stever Blattler, Tulare County Farm Bureau.
Alva Parker, RMA staff.
Okay, so we want to call the roll and see what works well. We've done the introduction. That's what's up to the rule. We are one member short. So we won't, I'm not sure if we have any actions to go forward with today anyway. But at this point, I'll take public comment. Anyone from the public that would like to comment on items that are not on the agenda?
I'll make I have a couple comments, just to bring attention, and I invited Kyle to come because there's a project coming forward that I think that committee will be very interested in. The project name is Final Farm Company, and we've talked about disposal of animals. This is a large. Well, I'll let Kyle talk about the project, actual project. This briefly, there's no action item on this, but I asked him to come because we just got the application in, we're starting to process it. It'll have to go to the planning commission, et cetera, and the state regulatory agencies. But I wanted to get it before the committee because it's it's a matter that we've discussed at length, and it is a great need. So potentially putting a letter of support from that committee to kind of tag along with this project that goes through the entitlement process. and maybe even bring it to an item to the board for this support as well. So I'll let him talk. I know it's not on the agenda. He's just going to briefly talk about what it is, and then I would invite him back. We can turn it on the agenda and have a full presentation, much more detail about it. But I just wanted to bring the committee's attention.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, I'm Kyle Pereira, licensed civil engineer with Four Creeks. We recently, back in August, had a landowner who approached us. He would like to open up the Final Farm Company. His plan is to use his private property in ag zoning for an incinerator facility as an alternative for dead animal disposal. Plan is he would bring in the carcasses to this facility, burn them with, he's proposing 4 incinerators, air burners, burning those at a 1-to-1 ratio with certain species of wood. The product, the resulting ash product, can also be used for soil amendment for farming as well. And so, dead animal disposal is, pretty limited in terms of options in the valley. Actually, my dad's a farmer, has a dairy out in Pixley. Just told me the other day he has got a letter that Baker Commodities up their prices again. So I think it's a great thing for the industry. Another alternative for something that every dairyman needs to deal with. So as Mr. Washington noted, I'd love to come and give you guys a presentation at a meeting and give you a little more detail about what we're trying to do. We do have a project review committee meeting January 23rd here coming up. Yeah, next week out here. Again, really appreciate the support. Yeah.
Size of the animal doesn't matter with your facility, like horse.
No, they're sticking to bovine for now. Yeah, in terms of the burners themselves, fairly large. I don't see there any restriction in that regard.
Bovine and smaller or just bovine?
For now, just bovine, yeah, to start. And then obviously this is kind of it's a new technology, a new thing. Been doing a lot of research on the emissions from these burners, how many animals could actually be processed per day. Obviously, what does that look like in terms of trucking animals in, trucking the resulting product out? Quite a few, it gets pretty intricate. But for now, we're looking at just bovine animals.
So our next meeting is March 19th. And we'll consider this for a future thing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I announced that so you can put it on the calendar.
Yeah. Same time?
Same time.
All right. Great. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll take that. I just had a couple other. The project name is Final Farm.
Oh, fine. Not mine.
I love it. Yeah.
Farm.
And
Give us a approximate location.
I can't remember what area is.
Send the,
That's his dad.
Well, was that, Jose just walked out of it.
Yeah, somebody was.
Is it on an old dairy?
Son of theirs. I'll be back. We'll have that, we'll have a full back. Like I said, I just want to bring it attention right away. And it looks like there's opportunity. Maybe they're looking smaller focus, narrow focus right now, but if there's demand for larger animal. So maybe there's potential. So we can have those discussions if you have questions. The only other thing I wanted to bring up, and I know there's happened some preliminary discussions, is about Tulare County Voices at 2:10 next month's topic is going to be bird flu. We have one of the guest speakers right here with us.
Maybe.
There's flyers on there. They weren't there when they first came in, but on the way out, I want to grab one for informational purposes for that meeting, which is February 11th. So it's farm show night. So this is the first night.
Tuesday night.
Yes,
first
Tuesday night. But anyway, that's scheduled. Couple other things just for informational items. The well ordinance is going to go to the board. We don't have a copy of the draft. Apparently they're going to, environmental health is going to have a number of options for
There's
the
no,
board to
there's
consider.
no revision at this point. There's
It's just
6
options.
options to give direction to environmental health to do the revision.
So that'll be on the 28th.
The 28th, so the agenda packet should be published on the Thursday before.
Thursday before.
Yeah.
That. And then finally, I don't know if everybody's seen it, but they've stepped back the regulations on the diesel truck conversions to clean fleets in anticipation of probably some new administration pushback. So that's a good news for some of the transportation for our area as far as being able to transport commodities. Those are the comments I have.
Very good. Any other staff comments? Not on the agenda?
I have a comment announcement. Tulare County Dairy Inspection Program has resumed activities at non-affected farms. It was effective Friday, but basically started Tuesday.
Is it non-affected?
Non-affected or never affected farms. So farms that never had, or have been released from farms.
And that limited our inspections of dairies as well. So we had a settlement agreement where we were in minimum of 45 dairies inspected on an annual basis. This year, this count is a little bit reduced to that because of our restrictions.
Excellent. Transmitted. Any other comments? Staff? Members? All right. Moving forward, the official recorded minutes are online. Don't have to record the minutes. And let's see, I was hoping we have someone walk in, but
Ian's unavailable.
unavailable. Okay. That's unfortunate. You call me. Let's go then into our zoning ordinance.
Sure thing.
Get an update on that.
Yes. So we last updated the zoning ordinance on December 31st. It's currently on our website. You can look up in the search box on our website, zoning ordinance update if you want to find it, or it's also just under planning documents. We are going to be scheduled to go to the planning commission for another workshop on February 26th. We will be uploading our packet for that as well. But mostly we just want to bring it to your attention again that there's a new update out. If you could leave any comments or review it, that would be appreciated. And the workshop is on February 26th.
We're at 26. Is there going to be a timed or untimed? Probably staff report be untimed.
So it'll be at the end. It'll be just informational,
At planning commission.
but we'll notice this group.
So we'll follow kind of the same format, that you'll have a staff presentation and show the planning commissioners what the differences are from the version they saw in September.
Yes.
To where you incorporated changes, and then
Yeah.
they'll offer, I guess, public comment at the end of your presentation. I mean, it's not a hearing, I understand, but should we be prepared to offer comments that day?
Yes, absolutely. But they're very interested in how you feel about it, so yes.
And read the comments around.
This
In
is long as
reality, I mean, to be able to, it works, staff is easier to incorporate changes.
I think we've gotten more Everwell comments than anything about our zoning code, but keep them coming.
For UCCE? No, I don't.
You mean for Tulare? I've taken over Conjo?
Yeah.
Lionel, and then
Minutes. Okay. Just to note, we will have a new departmental representative, county director, probably maybe a board flyer next week.
I think he starts February 1. For University of California Cooperative Extension County Director.
UCAR, University of California Agriculture and Natural Resources.
we become a Tulare Kings and Current.
We'll be looking forward to someone. They will be in the Tulare County office, their home office.
I believe he's originally from Visalia, yes. So I don't know how they systematically work, but
Yes, I took care of any other questions on planning? Planning? You guys are friends for RVLP or? On the RVLP subcommittee update. Yeah, it's online. Same location?
Yes.
And I was fully expecting Ian, who was chairing our committee, to be here.
He apologizes. He apparently did not get the date on his calendar correctly. He had it for tomorrow.
We did have Ian, Justin Leindecker, myself, Hugh Stinson, and Ron Perichin. All right. No, I'm looking at the wrong thing.
That sounds.
That's last year.
This was the last November meeting minutes
Yeah,
notes.
that's what we decided we would, that's when we nominated. I'm told who would be there, and they showed up at the meeting.
I think everybody was there.
Yes.
That was on the list, yeah.
So we had our sons, Ian, Ron, Vincent, myself, and Justin Leindecker. And here's where.
I was just
Yeah,
there.
you're up in the phone.
You're
Everyone's
get
so
credit
confused
for
now
that.
because I'm kind of this non-entity now.
You were,
I'm just here as a guest.
you have moved, now you are the linchpin.
No, that's
This is
Ian.
the working horse party. So with that, essentially, I can't say that we made a lot of progress at that meeting.
I think we identified a path forward, which I think was the expectation of that initial meeting, and have some direction to hone the process at the next. So we're meeting on the months that the AAC is not meeting. So we will meet in February before you meet again in March. And I think we came up with a way to sort of start to eat the elephant.
So essentially, that's so adequately explained. Now, careful. And I wish we had more to report, but anyone that wants to sit in on that meeting, you are welcome. We have our voting members there on the subcommittee. If you have something you'd like to add to the RVLP, I think we each had our assignments, studied the RVLP, and try to bring everybody up to the same page where everybody knows where we are on RVLP. That you look at certainly the main consideration was the letter to Farm Bureau that came out of their land use committee and some other meetings that we've had. And we looked at a categorical scoring framework. We looked at the percentages of points assigned to the different categorical areas. And I think that's probably going to be the main thing we're going to start working on, looking at those categories and where they should fit within a framework, considering the changes that we have, both technologically, the changes that's been used within NRCS, and also trying to look into the future a little bit with what's going to happen or changes in Sigma. Vincent, any comment on that?
No, but I think we're having some tech people to come at the next meeting, right? To kind of go over the lay of the land, if I remember
I
correctly.
think we're supposed to have someone come in from planning the next time that actually show us, demonstrate a couple of the
Actually,
points from VLP.
they were gonna go back and watch Russell's presentation from is it the September meeting?
Yes.
Well, maybe that's wrong because we meet in odd months, so maybe it would. Oh, no, September is odd month. Good night.
I missed all that.
So the September meeting, Russell did a presentation on how he goes through the RVFP. Today we're going to do that. So Elva, if we can send out a note to the subcommittee to remind them and maybe provide the link.
I think that's very good.
And then that way they will come. It won't be like my entire last week of work, which is like, I think I remember how to do my job. Where did we leave off on that? Why did we decide that? And we can be productive at that.
That'd be very good.
Yeah.
All right. think we're gonna have a short meeting today.
Before I move that topic, so is just because unfortunately I wasn't able to attend that subcommittee meeting, I did want to buy the windows
Oh,
in there.
they were looking for,
I came
you
through,
or-
it was
Yeah,
towards the end of the meeting.
We were told there'd be more of you show up and you didn't.
I mean, so are you looking at evaluating whether, I know you need to revise or amend the existing categories because of the changes and different even terminology on some things. But then are you looking at adding additional categories? And or are you just looking at reevaluating the score value for each of the existing?
potentially both, I think is what they were.
What's that?
Both,
I think we're wide open.
Yeah.
And someone with a lot of scope within their plan would be, and their input would be,
super useful at a meeting, like, because they asked me a lot of questions and I was like, well, if I were in charge, this is how I would do it.
We'll have a better presence with that myself or Mr. Bach. Or
If we get the invite.
Yeah, that was
if
we
we
get
get
the
the
invite.
invite, yeah.
oh, well, we can take care of that. Yeah.
That was, it was
We'll
approval.
send that to their agenda today. All right. So I think we covered information from staff, information from committee members. Pull that in. Any committee member updates?
Maybe might be my last meeting, not sure. I'm retiring end of March, so the next meeting's up for 19th, so do I see whether or not I'll be here or not?
So, 20 years left.
I don't know, I have 55 years in.
Have you started work on your retired job description?
My wife has.
Yeah, I tell people the biggest change from my retirement was I used to only get a review annually. I'm a little more regular now.
My wife's retiring at the same time, so. Yeah. Well,
Congratulations.
Yeah, perhaps.
Tell us what's going on in the land of conservation.
Well, with the passage of Prop 4 in the November elections, the state, as I understand it, is kind of getting together with departments to determine what that funding rollout looks like. There's a whole slew of funding. And so anticipating that mid-year or sometime before the end of this year, there will be applications available. That proposition also did authorize more funding for the multi-benefit land repurchasing program. In Tulare County, we have both the Tule Subbasin and the Korea Subbasin who were granted under that program from the Department of Conservation to kind of try to be on the solution side of SGMA-related transitions. So providing funding for landowners to put in recharge basins or other projects that would help with overall groundwater. So there's that. SRC has also been involved with the California Jobs First initiative, which is in this region, spearheaded by the Central Valley Community Foundation. And so that's for Tulare, Keys, Fresno, and Madera counties. And over the next year or so, we're going to be engaging institutional planning efforts in that 4-county region with us. What else? What else do you want to know?
Have you had a chance to look at the RVLP?
I have not. It's on my homework list right now.
Good. You need a link to it, or
It could be here.
we appreciate your participation in
Definitely,
conservation.
definitely.
Anything else? Supervisor McCray, you got anything working for the,
No, the only thing I got has to do with the large animal pickups banned on the road. Apparently there's the necessity to pick it up. Apparently animal control is working on a contract. And I don't know where they're at. Trish, maybe you know that they're getting a contractor online that will come and pick up the large animals. Now, there's going to be a fee involved, but that is something that's going to be available. And so instead of this thing sitting on the side of the road there, we're trying to figure out what to do. And it quietly disappears. Now there's going to be a service available.
I think that service has been used by the Animal Services Division for a while.
Has it started already? I
Yes.
just got briefed on it, but they were working on it. So maybe it has.
They may be expanding the scope of the contract, but they found a gal out of like Madera County. It's the Dead Horse Hauler. That's like her email address, Dead Horse Gal at yahoo.com or something like that. But she seems to be very responsive, and I think Animal Services has probably already been using that service for maybe a year or 18 months, but they may have been able to more ratify a broader scope of service or duties for it. She was just literally, they were calling and doing this on a case by case basis, depending on animal control's budget and her ability to get down here and take these critters. Since you brought that topic up, the only thing I would say to what Kyle presented during public comment is while having a business come into the county that's going to process bovines is great, bovines are not what's mostly getting dumped. It's mostly dead horses that nobody can get hauled off. And then it's occasionally sheep and goats that can go to rendering because of other biohazard complications and regulations. So, I mean, great to find out about the final farm, and we'll properly agendize that, find out more, but that doesn't necessarily change dumping horses. Because if the final farm doesn't do horses or sheep or goats.
Again, they're at the very preliminary.
I know.
This committee saying that there's a need and putting it out there, oftentimes when people start up a business, they're thinking one thing and they're not open-minded. There might be demand out there. So I don't know, they're talking about having 4 burners out there. So that's a lot of capacity.
If the air board will permit 4 burners, that's great.
See, that was what prompted me to ask, was because I was trying to see what's going on. We wanted to do it at the dump, and the air board and everybody else was just shutting it down.
Yeah.
And so then they go, well, yeah, but there's alternative. They were talking about the contract. That's how I just found out about it. So I don't know if it's, it's been going on 18 months, great, but at least there's something out there that we have the ability to.
I think the challenge with like this one in particular hauler has been, it's between a $400 and $600 fee. And so that's coming out of animal control's budget, which is, I serve on their budget subcommittee under the Animal Services Advisory Committee of the county. They're already upside down $500,000 plus a year. So I don't know where Cassie and her team can source too many of those pickups at $400 to $500 per dead horse.
What do they do with them and once they get to Madera?
We don't really know what they do with them, but they're not in our county anymore.
Yeah, a lot of other counties have their dumps or solid waste.
Oh, Kettleman. I think she takes them to Kettleman,
You go to Kettleman.
which has a dumping fee she's got to pay out there too.
Up north, their dumps have permitting and a lot of other things that we don't have, and we're taking care of those things. Which are hoops and hurdles to get.
I still feel like this county needs to permit a landfill to do this.
And I know that solid waste, Bryce said that he was going to.
10 years ago.
No, he said it's a year and a half ago. He was saying he's going to take the board. Oh,
They just have to revise their CEQA document to allow them to do it. No, but I mean, it's a lined landfill. It technically could, but years ago with another solid waste director, I think they specifically wanted to omit farm animals for the reason, like they didn't want them coming from out of county and just a lot of the hassle. So now that that was written into the CEQA document, they can't take it, but the class of landfill they are, technically they could if it was in their CEQA document.
I have chased that one before.
Yeah.
Forward progress, all good.
Yeah, Commissioner.
Yes, sir.
Wrote an excellent letter to Larry County Farm Bureau paper about a proposed project that, I know we don't handle things on a project basis, but I found this one interesting. Recall, there was a hospital that's proposed, hospital, medical facility proposed on ag land, so we are anticipating ag farming will be houses, and we know where that project is in the.
Is that our
Yeah,
friends
he's talking about
outside of Terrebonne?
Like I said, I've gotten more comments on Everwell's project on our zoning website than I have for zoning comments.
Yes.
It's nest there.
They have an application in for a rezone and a use permit and a development agreement. And, we offered them some potential conditions that might make their project more salient. But I think we've given them every indication that it's probably not gonna happen, so I think they're thinking about it. So I think, we haven't heard from them for about 3 months now. That's pretty long for, as excited as they were to move forward. I can discuss a PRA, can I? Because that's public information document. If someone asks for a PRA, isn't that PRA-able?
Requested it.
So the Department of Social Services has a PRA of all of our administrative evidence. So they're looking at the licensing themselves. And I guess, can I talk about a conversation I had with Eric Coyne, especially since he sent 3 emails right after that from 3 different legislators to the head of Department of Social Services, saying, where is this project at? So I think there's a lot of pressure on the Everwell folks. And again, they thought if they had been better actors, I think through this process, they thought that this existing facility would have worked for them, but because of the way it just works in generally with those facilities, most people are and have to be allowed to come and go. I think if they had worked with the citizenry out there a little bit better, we wouldn't be where we're at right now. But as I told them, no matter how much you try to rebrand where you've gotten to, you can't recover at this point. So hopefully they got the message. But their entitlement person, Andy's done a lot of these facilities through a lot of objections before. But I told him this is different. This is going to be different.
But aren't they having problems in Dinuba too? I got briefed about some, and I don't know the details, but I'm told they're having, I don't know if it's a sewer issue, but they're having not play nice issues with Dinuba as well, is what I'm told.
Yeah, well, and I think they're nothing like Terabella, but I heard something similar as well. So obviously Health and Human Services is not big fans of these folks. I don't think they've been, I don't know of any agency supporting them.
And even when it was Good Shepherd Home, there was tons of issues out there. Long before Everwell, and that community just fed up with it. They're never going to get on board, ever.
Right. So the attorney, a part of the PRA process, for Department of Social Services, was really impressed with the amount of people on the petition itself. He asked if they had gone to Walmart and got people to sign it. So no, that's the community, and those community members are going out and getting. And it's all the community members for starters. So I don't see a lot of hope at all for that project. And the kind of conditions we suggested to them were things that would have made it more like a hospital, and I don't think they're capable of being able to afford. It would become very unfeasible for them. And then on top of that, the only last thing is to keep in mind that the only group that might be willing to purchase this type of facility is someone like the state social services, because it would be if that thing were to sit abandoned for years, that would be a nuisance.
Well, I was there, I was sitting there when FEMA showed up at the feds, and they were gonna use it to house all the miners when they were overburdened with them. And we walked in, it was state, federal, they walked into the ground, they shook their head, they said, no way. They didn't have the well capability back then, and they don't have access to any kind of system water, so I don't know what they've done to their well, but at the time, it was bedrock, and they did nothing they could do there. Building had been pretty much gutted, most of them had, and it was gonna be a major renovation of the buildings, and I don't know where it's at today, but the feds and everybody walked away back then, and that was lieutenant, so it was probably 2012, 13, something.
Yeah, and that's, I think they, again, thought it would be a little bit easier for them as far as other jurisdictions and the scrutiny they get under CEQA and everything else to be able to move forward here. And because of that, I think they did plunk quite a few hundreds of thousands of dollars into the well and everything else to bring those up to speed. They did work on 2 of the 7 dorms. So they had, and that's why I think they've been so committed to following along. Otherwise, I think they would have given the amount of gnashing of teeth against this project. I think they would have walked.
Appreciate it. I know that's probably more than you expected to say.
I've got to get it out.
Plain Jackson.
Just for the record, we did rescind their use permit, so we've said a lot.
Any other items? Next meeting is 19. Some consideration.
So quickly, by the way. 19th is National Agriculture Week. National Ag Day is usually that Tuesday.
On the base for a rather thin but important agenda. And we do have folks that are working. You're ready for our next meeting. So appreciate it. Thank you. Sure.